Shevrin Jones, one of the Democrats on that tour, and Andrea Flores, Vice President of Immigration Policy and Campaigns at Forward.us.
Senator Jones, it's our understanding you and other state lawmakers had a bipartisan tour that happened, and you were in the background of that. We could see you in the background of that press conference that was happening. Take us inside the facility, because I have heard from lawmakers who were there that the folks at the facility, the state facility, have said that DHS is directing all of what is happening in that facility.
Well, Simone, the truth be told, they don't know who's in charge, because when we first went in on July 3rd, they said that this was a state-run facility. But it wasn't until we got there a few days ago until now they said that it's a federal-run facility using ICE procedures to run the facility. But mind you, they're using $450 million of taxpayer dollars. When we first got there on a few days ago with my colleagues and congressional members, we walked into the facility through the intake area where we began to see many of the detainees that were sitting down on a bench, shackled by their hands and shackled will have chains on their stomachs. But make insult to injury, what we heard was individuals saying, "I was just on my way to work. I'm an American citizen." But the most heart-wrenching part is when they took us and they opened up the door to where the detainees were. 32 individuals inside a cage. It was 81 degrees at the place where we were standing, knowing that inside it was probably even hotter. How do I know? Because there was individuals that were sweating and they had their shirt off while they chanted, "Libertad, libertad, libertad." It's talking about freedom and liberty inside this internment camp. This is what they have dubbed as immigration policy in this country, but they're doing it in the state of Florida as the litmus test to begin to spread this across the country in other red states.
Andrea Flores, we all remember during the first Trump administration when people were hair on fire about the fact that there were children being kept in cages. You're now talking about 32 individuals being kept in cages, some of them saying they are American citizens. How does that happen? And how do you not have Americans writ large saying not in our name?
So it happens because this type of facility has never happened before. We've never seen a state try and run what is typically a federal immigration detention facility. So they're creating this model that got stood up in under a month, which means they have no plan on how they're verifying who is going in there. They have no ability to tell families that their family members are in this facility. They don't seem to have a plan for food, air conditioning, and basic human rights. No state should be assuming the liability of taking on anything else like this. And every lawmaker at the federal and state level needs to be demanding oversight now, because do you know what's happening? We see other governments try and visiting, the Mexican consulate trying to visit. Do you know why they can't? Because for the first time, it's a state-run facility. We have no idea what authorities are using to decide who goes there. I am very concerned they're not verifying citizenship. It is an abomination, and this is the second in an experiment, right? The first, to me, was El Salvador and sending people to a terrorism confinement center. Now they're bringing those types of models right here onto the U.S. soil.
Well, they're actually expanding those models. Now they're talking about sending U.S. citizens to a host of other countries.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the end game, is to capture all of us at this table, and Senator, you as well, because we believe in this little thing called freedom and liberty and justice for all, right? And an administration that speaks against those things, when you speak out against them, they want to crack down on you. But you make a very important point, Andrea, about there not being a plan here, and not having a plan to not only be able to verify whether or not the individual is an American citizen, but also to verify whether or not they have a criminal record. Because that's the conceit. That's the whole point. We're pulling these people.
It was the whole point.
This was the whole point, right, Senator? You're locking these people up because they don't, they're presumably criminals. You have AP reporting that, Donald Trump says he wants to deport the worst of the worst. Well, the latest ICE statistics show that as of June 29th, There were 57,861 people detained by ICE.
Yeah.
41,495 of them, 71.7%, do not have a criminal record.
Michael, but listen, when we were in there, we thought the worst of the worst was in there until we got into the facility, only to see that they were separated by wristbands. You had red, orange, and yellow. Yellow were individuals who had civil infractions. Civil infractions who were sitting in jail. One guy, when they opened up the doors where the detainees were, you heard him yell out, "I was on my way to work." Now imagine that. Imagine walking into a building to where they said that this is a state-run facility or a federal-run facility, whatever it is, human beings sitting inside a facility who is not supposed to be there. And all they were doing was going to court for their due process. And the state of Florida is now saying that we are going to handle immigration here within the state and using 287G as the guise in which and how they run this facility. And yet they cannot even say how the $450 million will be paid, and they're putting it on FEMA when FEMA themselves have made it clear to the state of Florida that we don't know how we're going to reimburse you, because how you all have set up this facility is not what we as FEMA have approved right now.
This is unconscionable. I'm sorry, but in what universe are people out there just comfortable that American citizens are being held in a detention facility? And it's not just this place in Florida. We know that there are instances all across the country. Alicia, just in the last block, we talked about a veteran that was detained for days and then was released without charges. They are snatching up people. And you talked about how to verify citizenship. This administration is saying that birthright citizenship they would like to get rid of. It is in the Constitution. I'm going to keep saying it. If being born here does not make you a United States citizen, what does?
I think it's a great question, and people are learning in real time. Our immigration laws don't make it easy to verify citizenship, which has disproportionately impacted Black and Latino people for decades who lived along the border. That has always been the case. But you have to now recognize DHS is about to get almost $150 billion. So these mistakes of accidentally putting citizens in custody are about to rapidly expand because the process was already broken. They are building on top of a broken system that already did not respect people's citizenship. So this question is what, once again, all the Dems voted against reconciliation. So the bill that passed that gave them the $150 billion. Voting against it is not going to be enough here. They do need to be demanding, how is the average American supposed to prove citizenship right now? Is it a real ID? Is it a passport? My family, we're carrying birth certificates, passports. And
I'm sorry, but you should not have to do that.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Exactly.
This is crazy.
It's unprecedented.
crazy.
It's not immigration policy. It's not about national security, and it's not about public safety.